Hello students. Now what we had discussed about was this. We were on this, I had discussed in the last lecture was about geography, nature, scope. Now we'll go little further. The relationships as I told you. The fields of human knowledge are divided into three. That's natural sciences, social sciences and humanities. Now geography belongs to the field of natural sciences. Geography studies what? What does it study? Nature, water, landforms, minerals, soil, climate, flora and fauna. It is also a social science. It studies or it deals with the study of man as the architect of Earth's surface. It studies man's political and economic systems, religious and educational institutions, man's cultural values, folkways, and beliefs. Now, with various disciples, all aspects have been covered, students, where geography is related, and it has concern with the different disciplines. Sorry. Now, if you look at geography, what is it? It's all knowledge that involves cultural geography, that is arts and humanities, history, art, English. When we talk about cultural geography, what does it include, students? This table is very informative for you all to understand what we are going to talk about. How are you to relate all this branch or these branches with different parts of subtopics of geography? Whereas cultural geography is concerned, arts and humanities, history, art, English, foreign language, music, religion, theatre. When we talk about physical geography, physical sciences come into it. That's physics, chem, geology, engineering, meteorology, and astronomy. When we talk about medical geography, biogeography, that consists of biological science, biology, botany, zoology, agronomy, and medicines. Human geography, when we talk about human geography, that's social sciences, economics, business sciences, sociology, psychology, political science, and law. Quantitative geography, really something related to math, statistics, and all of that. Maths, computer science, and statistics. So, students, this you all can see, and geography is divided into branches, sub branches, but in a way, if you see, it's divided into two branches, that's physical and human geography. Now, the first lesson, we are continuing our discussion, our lesson on first topic, that's introduction to physical geography. So, we will study more about physical geography in this second lecture. First of all, we'll understand what is this, the branches of geography, as I said. Geography cuts across a wide variety of subject matter. Almost any area of human knowledge can be examined from a spatial perspective. Geography can be divided into two main branches, as I kept repeating this many times, physical geography and human geography. We are going to concentrate on physical geography. Physical geography is concerned with the natural processes that makes the surface of the earth the way it is. Physical geography includes numerous subdisciplines, some of which will be mentioned next. Human geography is the major branch of geography that studies people and their interaction with earth, man and environment interrelation, as I said, with their organization of space on the earth's surface. Now, when we talk about physical geography, what is physical geography? It is that branch of natural science which deals with the study of processes and patterns in the natural environment. Now, our natural environment consists of atmosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere, and geosphere. This also I shall be talking about and giving more, I'll be throwing more light on all these earth systems which we'll be learning as we progress. The domain of human geography. The main purpose of physical geography is to explain the spatial characteristics of the various natural phenomena associated with the Earth's hydrosphere. Hydrosphere is water, biosphere is all the components put together, that is hydrosphere, atmosphere, and lithosphere. Atomosphere is air, lithosphere is land. Modern research in physical geography is often interdisciplinary and uses the systems approach. Now, when we talk about this climatology and all, I will be coming. Before that, what do you mean? It is basically it deals with the study. Physical geography, what does it do? It deals with the study of processes and patterns in the natural environment. Okay. It is a sub-discipline of two much larger fields of geography and the earth sciences. What is the main purpose, students, of physical geography? It is to explain the spatial characteristics of the various natural phenomena associated with all these spheres. All these spheres. Okay. Now there are some definitions which are there. Again, if a question comes on physical geography, you will start with defining physical geography, a little bit of explanation. You'll expand on that definition. You'll put forth the meaning. You'll talk about the nature if asked for. You'll talk about the scope and the elements I have already discussed. So these elements also, as in geography, what we've discussed, that also you can put across. Now, if we talk about physical geography, we'll define physical geography through S.A. Kazi. Physical geography, according to S.A. Kazi, is the study of land, water, surface features, and the natural forces responsible for their occurrence. What is the nature of physical geography? The nature of physical geography, basically, it is physical and human that examines the natural processes occurring on the Earth's surface. Once students, you all know exactly the definition of what physical geography is, what does it talk about, you can write it in your own words, which makes sense, definitely. Physical geography is not the agglomeration of different branches, but it studies the patterns of the interactions. It also studies the interaction between the human activities and the physical environment. Now, you can define the nature of physical geography as what? It is the study of forces that influence the surface of the earth. There are 4 points for the nature of physical geography. First point, physical geography is the study of forces that influence the surface of earth. Physical geography is to study natural phenomena. Physical geography is the study of physical processes and patterns of the natural environment. And definitely it is there to study. The main purpose is to study or explain the spatial characteristics which are associated with all the different branches of geography. Now, here we come next to the next topic, that is the scope of physical geography. Now, what is the scope of the of physical geography here when we talk about? In physical geography, we know that all four spheres are included. The first point, origin, age, and structure of the interior of the earth. When we talk about interior of the earth, we are well aware of the interior of the earth and what are the sections in the interior of the earth. The age and structure of the interior of the earth, the evolution of continents and oceans, and characteristics which are studied further. Then the forces or the movements of the earth, whether it's endogenetic or exogenetic. We are well aware of endogenetic and exogenetic forces. What are endogenetic forces? Which are constructive forces. They come from within. When we talk about endogenetic forces, they come from within the earth. They create reliefs, that is mountains, folds, faults, volcanic cones. You all have learned in the previous classes. Then there are denudation processes, whereas bearing aware of the earth's surfaces. Example, the fluvial, marine, glacial, all of this get washed away through the weathering agents. The study of the evolution of continents and basins. The tectonics, the plate tectonics comes under endogenetic. So I repeat, what does this mean? Endogenetic forces, basically the forces which come from within the earth, which create folds, faults, reliefs, and the denudation processes. The third point we'll see, the characteristics, origin, and distribution of the constructional reliefs. Now, the characteristics, origin, and distribution of constructional reliefs, namely, what does this mean when we talk about constructional reliefs? How have they come? From where have they originated? How have they been distributed on Earth? That is, we are talking about the mountains, the faults, the folds. They are investigated, they are thoroughly studied. They are thoroughly studied, and therefore their physical features and their natural hazards which have an effect on human beings are also studied under physical geography. So this is the scope of physical geography. Now endogenetic, that is coming from within the earth. Exogenetic, which comes from the, basically it is basically from the denudation processes, the mechanism of erosion, transportation, and deposition by running water, groundwater, sea waves, all of that. And they are termed as geomorphic processes also. Next is study of hydrospheric component. Hydrospheric component, when we talk about hydro, that means water. I will tell you how to understand and learn this easily and how to relate it to. The study of hydrospheric component involves the consideration of the reliefs of ocean basins, submarine canyons, continental slope, salinity, composition of seawater, or coral reliefs, ocean currents, tides, their distribution, their origin. Sixth point, what is the scope of physical geography? Studying the atmospheric component. So studying the hydrospheric, that is studying the hydrosphere, studying the atmosphere, studying the biosphere, endogenetic and exogenetic features, all of forces, all of that also needs to be studied, and that comes under the scope of physical geography. The study of atmospheric component includes the discussion of composition and structure of atmosphere, elements of weather and climate, insolation, that is dealing with sun energy. When we talk about insolation, students don't get worried, it simply means sun energy. And heat balance, terrestrial radiation on land, balance, and anthropogenic factors causing imbalance, air pressure, winds. So winds can be of different types, planetary winds, local winds, characteristics of monsoon, humidity, precipitation, all of that. Now the last scope of physical geography is studying the biospheric component, that is studying the biosphere. Now over here, this it involves the abiotic and biotic components, the soil system, the ecosystem, the ecological production, the circulation in the ecosystem. All of these elements when they're circulated in the ecosystem. The biomes, we have all come across this. The greenhouse effect and global warming is a hot topic right now, and we need to uh, work towards it more, and in a way, more progressive way. Extreme events, hazards, disasters, pollution management, all of that comes under biosphere. Now physical, over here when we talk about physical geography, it is evident from the discussion that the scope of physical geography, it includes systematic study of physical environment. So this changes the interaction between man and physical environment. Major changes have taken place because of the various factors. Now more attention has to be given to the study of certain aspects of physical geography. As we said, ecosystem, stability of that, plate tectonics, and microtemporal scale, that is graded and steady state time scale. All of that factors have to be taken into consideration. Disasters, natural disasters which are happening, and greater emphasis has to be given on evaluation of the adverse impacts which it has on the uh, humans, as well as because of the human activities on the physical environment. See students, it's very clear how you uh, behave with the environment, your surrounding, the physical environment, it in a way vice versa, that it's going to affect you also. So this is what we are paying for now, as in if you look at the situation what we are in today. Elements of physical geography also, it is basically, it's sometimes referred to as the um, basically it is referred to as the setting upon which human activities take place. It is the field of geography that deals with natural environment. Now, as I said, they include the study of processes of rock types, geomorphology, geology, soils, that is pedology. Hydrology is concerned with river, lakes, and oceans. Weather and climate come under meteorology, flora and fauna. Now, when we'll come to climatology and all of that, we'll study that. We'll study about the branches of physical geography also. Landforms. Landforms, we all know plateaus, plains, mountains. All this we describe in terms we have visited and their features we know. Physical geography also includes, what are the elements it also includes? It basically includes landforms, the rock types, weather and climate, natural vegetation, and wildlife. Where we talk about landforms, earthquakes and volcanoes, their shapes, the changes, whatever the processes which happen due to the landslides and erosion is due to the is because of the physical aspect where landforms change. Rock types and minerals. Now, when we talk about physical geography, it includes rock types and minerals which come under geology. They give to different, they give rise to different landforms. Where when the rock types at the surface of the earth, when they combine with the climate and vegetation, they determine the soil type of that region. Weather and climate, it rivers, lakes, and oceans are a component of weather and climate. Water is an important component of weather and climate. We all know that and very well aware of that. The conditions of the atmosphere, temperature, precipitation, length of sunlight have a great effect on both physical and human environment. The fourth element, what we are talking about of physical geography, that is vegetation and wildlife. Now, natural vegetation and wildlife are also part of the physical environment. This is known as biogeography, where vegetation and wildlife come into picture. So students, you should know these terminologies also. What does geomorphology, if it is asked, what does it mean? It's related to what? Soils is related, what is it called? So, study of soils is called what? Study of rivers, lakes and oceans is called what? So I would want you all to learn this and be well aware of these branches of geography. Then the different branches of geography now. The first sub-disciplines of physical geography are climatology. Now, what does climatology talk about? Climatology talks about, it is the study of the condition of the atmosphere with respect to the Earth's surface. A climatologist seeks to understand the different climate patterns found on Earth, the processes that cause these different climate patterns to take place in specific places, that is, different climate types, the place where these climates occur, and how and why climates change over time. So, this is one aspect of climatology. Climatology, basically the gaseous envelope. What is climate? In simple terms, if I ask you all what is climate, it is the aggregate of weather. Climate is the integration of weather, and weather is the differentiation of climate. The distinction between climate and weather is therefore mainly one of time. According to Critchfield, climatology is that science which studies the nature of climate. So, climatology studies climate. We know climate is aggregate of weather. Now, there are different branches of climatology. That's physical climatology, regional climatology, and applied climatology. Physical climatology deals with the interpretation of factors responsible for spatial and temporal variations of exchange of air circulation, heat, and humidity. What does physical climatology study, students? It studies various elements of weather, that is insolation. I told you insolation means sun energy, temperature, pressure, wind, evaporation, and humidity, fogs, precipitation, all of that. Regional climatology. When we talk about regional climatology as a branch of climatology, it includes the types and distributions, patterns, and characteristic features of world climates. Put it very simple, regional climatology, it includes the study. It's studying the different characteristics of different types of climates in the world or globally. It studies climate globally. I would put it in simple terms that way. Then applied climatology, it studies the application of climate knowledge to solve various problems faced by human society. Now, what problem we are facing? That is global warming, the climate change which is happening, the interactions between the climate and the biosphere. How does climate influence and control plants and animals, including man? And it shows how man should modify by introducing certain changes in the physical environment. So all of that comes under applied climatology. Basically, applied climatology is nothing but how do you how do you put forth or you proceed with the knowledge of climate you have to solve the problems faced by human society. Climatic change, you all know the best and best of scientists in the world are trying to really work towards this disaster which is really going to take a lot of lives away or make life difficult on our earth is global warming. We are seeing the effects of that, and the aftermath also of that is going to be dangerous. So all of that comes under climatology. Next is meteorology. Now when we talk about meteorology, it is the study of atmospheric weather processes. A meteorologist, what does he do? He wants to understand the different atmospheric processes that create our weather. Where do these weather phenomena occur? How and why does the planetary weather system work the way it does? Okay, students, so this is climatology, what I covered, and meteorology. And other I'm saying, sorry, it's discipline. What we are going to study about is biogeography. Now, what's biogeography? In simple terms, we'll understand what is biogeography. Now, biogeography, it is the study of the distribution of species and ecosystem in a geographic space. He studies the geographic distribution of plants and animals on the earth. We'll throw some more light on this topic, that is biogeography. Now, what happens in biogeography? We are going to understand that. It is basically defined as the essence of biological relations between man. Man is considered as an animal and the whole of its animate and inanimate environment. Now, students, you all should learn some definitions to understand and define it in a better way, so you can define through various authors the term biogeography. Now, biosphere, we know that it's a life supporting layer which surrounds the earth and makes plants and animal life possible without any protective device. The organic world, or the biosphere we call, is that part of the earth which contains living organisms, biotic, living and non-living things. Remember, students, when we talk about biosphere, it consists of biotic and abiotic. So all the living organisms of the earth and the environment to which these organisms interact make the biosphere. The biosphere consists of all the living organisms, the energy component and physical environment, abiotic component, and the interaction. There is a continuous interaction between the living organisms and the physical environment among themselves. Now, the average thickness of biosphere or life supporting layer consists of land, air, water, soil is about 30 kilometers. So now how do you decide the upper limit? How is it determined, the upper limit of biosphere? It is determined by the availability of the oxygen, the moisture present, the temperature, the air pressure, which are necessary. Now, students, without oxygen, the temperature, the air pressure, the existence of organisms is very, very difficult. But NASA had discovered the presence of bacteria up to the height of 15 kilometers in the atmosphere. So that is how NASA had discovered the study of simple terms. When we talk about biogeography, the study of biosphere is called biogeography, which includes consideration of physical environment, animals, soil, plants. Now, biogeography, if I break up in simple terms for you all, bio, something related to biology plus geography put together. So, biological and geographical science. Biologically inhabited part of the lithosphere, atmosphere, and hydrosphere, as is known to be biosphere. We all know that living organisms of the biosphere are studied in botany, zoology, biochemistry. If you all talk about science students, they are well aware of that how is it a part of biology, how geography becomes a part of biology. So all of that comes under biogeography. So what is it? The simple terms when I talk about biogeography, biogeography is the study of the biosphere. What does it include? The physical environment, soil, animals, and plants. So I hope this becomes clear. Now, though we use the term ecology, what does ecology means? Home. It was first used by a biologist, which proposed and conceptualized the another word which is called ethology. And how does this all come together, and how do we come to know about how biology plays an important role and is interrelated with geography is through where these various scientists who have put forth their uh, their explanations through their observations and experiences of their knowledge. All of that comes through these various scientists. Okay. Now, when I talk about geomorphology, what do you mean by geomorphology? When I'm talking about geomorphology, we'll understand what is it. Geomorphology is basically American school is credited for making maximum contributions in the field of geomorphology. It was basically propounded by W.M. Davis to give its final shape. Now, what is geomorphology? It is a significant branch of physical geography. It stems from the Greek word, from three Greek words, geo. Geo means earth, we know, morph means form, and logos means discourse. Now, geomorphology is defined as the scientific study of surface features of the Earth's surface involving or description of landforms, their origin, development, nature, and mechanisms. The subject matter of geomorphology is based on dimension and scale of relief features. Relief, when we talk about relief, it is basically nothing but land. Processes that shape the landforms. The approaches to the geomorphic studies. Certain principles of structural and dynamic geology are included in geomorphic studies. Now, the origin of different types of mountains, plateaus, faults, folds, continents cannot be properly understood because it helps in understanding the denudationnel landforms. These typical words, inhabits, diversity, denudationnel processes, insolation, all of that I have already told you all what do they mean in the previous lecture. Endogenetic forces, particularly the sudden events which happen, that is in form of earthquakes or volcanoes, all of that generate a variety of introduce irregularities and well as generate a variety of landforms. So this all comes under geomorphology. And as I said, it is created by physical, chemical, and biological processes operating at or near the Earth's surface. What does a geomorphologist ask questions? He asks about landforms, different landforms. What are the different landforms? Why they are, how they are formed, and how they are formed. So all of this comes under the topic of geomorphology. Basically, the contribution of geomorphical process has been in the form of it is basically functional theory in place of evolution theory, and it has helped in studying or the emergence of environmental geomorphology. This is a sub branch of environmental geomorphology is a sub branch of geomorphology. So all of that is being covered in geomorphology. Now the next topic I'm going to talk about is hydrology and oceanography. In a little bit of detailed, we'll throw light on these two as well as some more and try to understand what are they talking about. Thank you, students.